The Kansas City Chiefs are back and can possibly win the Super Bowl this year.
You asked me last week, or you told me last week, the Chiefs are back. I'll say so. I said that they looked good. It helps that their linebackers were injured, Buffalo's linebackers. But, Mahomes looked like he's actually Mahomes.
In today's episode, we recap all the divisional round games from the NFL and we react to the shocking head coaching news from the New York Islanders. And we talk about the Lakers' disappointing performances.
I'm not saying fire Darvin Ham because I hate firing a coach after 2 years, and Lakers have literally been that. When something goes bad, it's never the player's fault. It's like Man United all over again. It's the coach. But this side, I do have to give Darvin Ham a lot of blame. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the BTR podcast.
Before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe.
As always, make sure you guys follow our socials linked down below. We drop almost daily clips or challenge videos, etc. on our Instagram, TikTok, and our YouTube shorts. And as always, audio listeners, make sure you guys download the podcast, rate it, and review it as well, as it will help us in the charts, hopefully, one day.
All right. As usual.
Let's just get right into it.
NFL.
Let's talk about the game. At least this weekend was better than last weekend. We could say that much. But let's talk about the biggest game, the Chiefs and the Bills.
Yeah, Chiefs-Bills. Did it live up to 2 years ago? I would say yes. Yes, it did.
Yeah, pretty much.
Definitely did. Yeah, it was complete deja vu. Exactly. Josh Allen, again, helpless. Couldn't do anything much more. Much more. Patrick Mahomes, again, balls out. Kelsey balls out as well. And it just ends in heartbreak for Buffalo again.
Yeah, let's start with the Chiefs. I mean, obviously, this game ended up coming with which team made the less mistakes, which was the Chiefs, like I would say 2-1, really, and which came in the fourth quarter, which was the mainly special teams issue, minus the fumble from the Chiefs side was a fumble, but the special team side for the Bills. But the Chiefs, you asked me last week, or you told me last week, the Chiefs are back. I'll say so. I said that they looked good. It helps that their linebackers were injured, Buffalo's linebackers. But, Mahomes looked like he's actually Mahomes for sure this time. More confident in that because, the defense played... Buffalo's defense played well, right? For most part of
for what they have, they played well.
Yeah, for the most part, they played well. Kelsey obviously was going to pop off, which makes sense because the linebacker concern. They had Kadarius Toney injured, but the run game wasn't that bad. Raheem Mostert played well. Pacheco played well. I always mix those guys up for some reason. Isaiah Pacheco played well. Rashee Rice didn't go off like he did last week, but he didn't really need to because Kelsey was the main focus this time.
No, but he did his part. Valdez-Scantling did his part as well. So
a couple of big catches from big guys, like not the big guys.
Yeah, which was main guy was Valdez-Scantling. He made 2 down the field catches pretty good.
There were some throws that Mahomes did miss that he usually gets, but credit to the Bills defense. There was some in the first half that I saw personally that I see.
I only saw 2.
Yeah, those are the ones. That's a couple.
Huh?
Couple.
Yeah, so
that's what I'm saying. There was a couple that I've seen him miss that he usually hits, but again, credit to the Bills defense there.
They still got points off it, so it doesn't really matter at the end of the day.
Yeah. From the Chiefs side of things, but let's see. The problem is, which we'll talk about later, they're going to be going against Baltimore. And the Chiefs, when we thought they were going to be back in the regular season, ended up playing a good team and they got their ass kicked. So this might potentially be the case. We'll talk about this game, the Chiefs-Ravens matchup on Thursday's pod. But for now, I
never really thought they would be back.
The big test
in the regular season.
The big test was the Chiefs on the road for the first time in the playoffs, right? And they passed it clearly.
Yeah, they
won.
I never thought they would be back in the regular season, right? At the end of the day, the game that they played good was against the Bears, so I had no issues with that.
Well, the reason why I thought they were back was...
There's confidence this time.
The reason why I thought they were back was because also Nick Shook put Patrick Mahomes in the MVP convo. It was around that period where people were like, okay, the Chiefs are finding their mojo, and then it went downhill literally since that pod for them. That's why I'm saying people thought that they were back.
I didn't agree with those people. Main reason is because I had Mahomes in my fantasy, so I was watching him closely every week, and it wasn't the same Mahomes until the Miami Dolphins game and this Buffalo Bills game. Yeah, he was unstoppable. Every time I saw Chiefs go on the field, I was like, yeah, this Bills defense is in danger. And they were almost like every single drive up until the fumble, right? The Chiefs got points in every single drive. Field goal or touchdown. They got points.
Yeah.
So, obviously, then they had the big stop at the end, giving the ball to Josh Allen for the last drive. But at the end of the day, as a Bills defense, you did as much as you could. You did better than I expected to. You guys did. You kept it close. That's all you had to do, and you did that. Then obviously, the Chiefs had a complimentary game, right? Their defense obviously wasn't good in the first half, but their offense was, so they kind of helped them out. And at the end, it flipped over. The defense closed out the game for them, and the Chiefs' offense was good. They just had a good game, all three phases throughout the whole entire game. Whereas Buffalo, on the other hand, might not have had that.
Yeah, so let's talk about Buffalo. They're cursed. They're at this point 4 straight Super Bowl losses back in the 90s, around that period. This time it was like the football gods wanted Buffalo to win, right? The coach makes I think a dumb decision to go for it on what do you call it, on the fake punt, whatever. Whoever decided that, whether it be Sean McDermott.
It was a bad decision.
Ultimately, he's a head coach. So
it was a bad decision. Yeah. At the end of the day.
So if the football gods helped them by making that fumble, not obviously the fumble.
It was on McCole Hardman.
No, I'm just saying in general, the fact that it bounced into the end zone.
Yeah.
You don't know where the ball would ever bounce, right? So that helped them. They went, obviously they couldn't convert on anything, but then they got the ball back. They kind of got screwed over by the pass interference call, but then they still stopped them the next 3 downs, the next 3 downs.
So that's when the gods went against them.
Yeah, and then it was like, yes, Buffalo might get it done. They're at least gonna get to the field goal range, and it was like one of those things where like, get your hopes up high and then come dashing down, and that's exactly what happened with Tyler Bass hitting wide right, which is trending on Twitter right now.
Wide right, it's a famous, unpopular saying in Buffalo.
Yeah,
but it's also infamous because those words curse Buffalo, right? And what can we say? We expected, we knew the defense was gonna be bad, right? But they played good for what they had.
Yeah.
They did the job. Josh Allen, what can he do more?
Yeah.
Like genuinely, what could he do more? I don't know. You know how we have obviously Tyler Bass missed a kick. Don't get me wrong, right? But if you know how we do our superlatives and we're like, oh, most disappointing team and stuff. I'm gonna change it to most disappointing player, and you know where I'm going with this. Stephon Diggs, big major drop at the beginning of the drive. Josh Allen absolutely launches it. I know it's a difficult catch. Don't get me wrong. But you're talented. You're regarded as one of the top 5 receivers in the league.
Not anymore.
Top 10. Well, not anymore, obviously, after this season. I am hella disappointed in that play because big players are supposed to show up.
Yeah.
There's no Gabe Davis. It was on you this game.
Yeah.
And you did not make that catch.
I don't know.
I'm very disappointed.
I was never really high on Stephon Diggs to begin with as like the top 5 guy. That's just me.
But he's performed like it at the end of the day.
I'm just saying that was my opinion.
Yeah, your opinion, but like,
yeah,
he's performed like a top 5.
I get that, but
you can't disagree with that.
I was just not sold, even though with those.
I know, but
I get that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, moments like this.
He's not top 5. He's still top 10, and is regarded on the upper echelon of wide receivers.
Sure.
At the end of the day,
But I'm just saying in general, like it was like the Pierre-Luc Dubois thing with me for him. That's what I'm gonna say. That's just me, my opinion. Yeah. We're not gonna argue about that right now because right now you're on my side based on like what happened today.
I know I'm on your side.
So
but
I'm saying overall, I just think that's.
I don't like that comparison by you.
Okay, but like, okay.
Well, I'm just
saying, in my opinion, I never was high on Stephon Diggs. I understand he had first 2 years with Buffalo, he was good. I get it. He comes out, he's complaining that he wasn't treated right or whatever this past year. I'm just saying, like, ultimately I saw this coming for me. I don't know why. That was just me. But that being outside of that being said, Josh Allen was like the main concern in the regular season. But every time he comes into the playoffs, minus I think last year against Burrow, he has been a playoff performer for the most part. Except it's not on him, but ultimately, like this time was you go say Stephon Diggs, but special teams let him down, right? This for the most part. Last time we played the Chiefs, the coaching and the defense let him down.
Yeah,
because there's no way the squib kick and all that stuff could have happened in that 13 seconds. There was a lot of discussion with that as well.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying coaching and defense let him down then. And then the year before he was still, that was when he rose, and it made sense that he lost to the Chiefs that year in the championship game. I think it was.
You wasn't expected to win that one. The thing is this just proves, yes, quarterbacks are like the most important position, take the most blame if they lose, and obviously get the most credit. And you win games because of quarterback play. But football is a team sport. And genuinely, in this game 2 years ago, Josh Allen genuinely could not do more. Like, we couldn't ask him to do more if we wanted to.
Yeah.
We cannot. And if you're saying we can ask him to do more, you don't know football. You do not know football. As simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously Josh Allen is going to be a team player. On the press conference, he did say, like, I could have done better on that potential Shakir touchdown at the end of the game that led to the missed field goal. Fine, fair. That if people want to judge it on that. But it's human, right? Not every player is going to be perfect on every single throw or every single play or whatever the case may be.
And also taking the situation, right? Like, his defense is injured. He has to go toe-to-toe with probably, you could even say, the second greatest quarterback in the playoffs. Like, you could argue that now with Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, you mean like overall?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, never mind. I think about this year. I'm like, what do you mean?
No, yeah. So, like, you're going toe-to-toe.
Yeah, the best guy in the game.
Yeah, with the best guy in the game currently in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And potentially the second greatest of all time.
Yeah.
And he did that 2 times. And he did that at his level. He did that at Patrick Mahomes' level.
I want to cut you off. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just laughing because, like, if any older dudes watching this, they're probably screaming
Like Joe Montana.
or
like,
Dan, no, not Dan Marino, but Joe Montana mainly.
Yeah, obviously.
But anyways,
Yeah,
continue.
like I said, arguably. I
Yeah, no,
guarantee.
continue. I was just joking around with that part.
But yeah, obviously I'm obviously, like, we're neutrals in this game, but I had more.
No, I was definitely
You're
neutral.
definitely neutral. I had
You
more.
had- you were cheering for the
Let me
Bills.
say it. Like,
Okay.
you were neutral. I was also neutral, but I had a little bit more implication than like you, because at the end of the day, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, who you guys don't know, are my favorite quarterbacks in the league behind Anthony Richardson, just because that's a given. Any Colts player. So for me, I'm like, if Lamar and Josh Allen are versing each other in the AFC Championship game,
You're in a win-win situation.
I'm in a win-win situation, right? So then I'm like, I'm just winning. I'm rooting for the guy who wins in the AFC.
Yeah.
But obviously, yeah, it didn't go down like that, and I can't even blame. Like, if it was like, regular season Josh Allen,
Yeah,
then
like,
he'll take the blame.
I've seen you because you went from high Lamar and then Josh Allen started rising. You went then high Josh Allen. Then you kind of went low Lamar because he's been struggling in the playoffs.
It's not even struggling. He was injured.
Even when he was,
I couldn't see him.
Before,
I couldn't see him
before
play.
the injury, he was not. I'm talking about before the injury as well. His MVP year, for example, the first one.
Yeah, I was high.
Because he's gonna get a second one. But
I was high on him then.
Yeah, but
I
what I'm
was
saying
high.
is you kind of like went down because he couldn't.
I didn't
do
go
much.
down on Lamar.
On the playoffs though.
I never knocked Lamar down.
No, I'm not saying you never docked him down. I'm saying that your enthusiasm went down because when he wasn't.
Yeah, like I wasn't.
Outside of the injury, when he was in the playoffs, he did not perform well.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Okay, so I wasn't happy. That doesn't mean like he dropped in my.
I never said
yeah.
he dropped in your.
So like, what do you mean my enthusiasm? I'm still rooting for him. My enthusiasm was still high for him.
Because like, okay, never mind. I'm not gonna go bother.
Yeah, like I don't know.
No,
what
because I'm not saying that. I'm saying behind the scenes, when like I've seen you, like when you, what I'm saying is you're a real guy. Like when it comes to you're not heavily biased when it comes to your favorite. Anyway, I know you personally. That way.
Okay, yeah.
So what I'm saying, what I was gonna allude to is you were talking bad about Josh Allen, his play, not him as a player.
That doesn't mean my enthusiasm.
That's what I mean. Like,
but that doesn't mean my enthusiasm's low.
and no, it was though.
No, it doesn't.
No, that means like okay, you're like okay, I don't know if I trust him in the playoffs, and you had rightfully so because you threw a pick in every game this past year, essentially, right? Josh Allen. That's what I mean. You're like okay, I'm not sure if I'm. Yeah, you're gonna root for him. That enthusiasm's high. I'm talking about
that's what
the confidence of the enthusiasm. What I mean.
No, that's confidence. Enthusiastic is like, yo, I'm still with him. I'm gonna be pumped up for him.
But like
if I'm confident, that's a different story. That's a different word.
No, but what I'm saying is it kind of
it's confidence. You're just trying to say confidence.
Yeah, but it still correlates because if you're not heavily confident, you're not gonna be as enthusiastic either. Do you get what I mean?
No, I don't. I actually don't.
All right, we're not doing an English lesson.
Yeah,
but okay. Anyways,
I might be wrong. I don't. I'm
just saying, like,
English.
if I'm not confident, like Man United, I'm not confident on winning.
Yeah.
Do you see me being enthusiastic half the time when I watch their games?
You know,
that's what I mean.
The thing is this.
That's the exact thing I'm saying.
But like the difference between Josh Allen is he was still always in it. Like Man United would just
that's what I'm trying to correlate. Like that's what I mean.
Like Josh Allen wasn't garbage. Lamar Jackson wasn't
because
garbage.
at some point in the season, like when we talked to Nick Shook or we would listen to other people, they're all written them off. You kind of were in that stage too. That's what I mean.
Yeah, that's fair.
But anyways, screw the English lesson.
Like,
but no, I'm just like fine, whatever. We'll let these guys
they
decide.
weren't garbage.
Yeah.
Man United is garbage.
But
yeah.
But my point is, you're not confident, which means you're enthusiastic. You might not be as enthusiastic when you watch the game.
I don't
score.
I don't see it like how you said it right now. But
okay.
whatever.
Anyways, but my point is that Now I lost my point. But the thing is, like, well, Lamar now is like you're now confident, which means you're gonna be heavily enthusiastic now, because like for me, the first guy who told me was Lamar, and then Josh Allen became Josh.
Yeah,
Allen,
obviously,
right?
because Lamar popped out. Like Lamar
So,
had his breakthrough season.
Obviously, with
Lamar had his breakthrough season before Josh Allen.
yeah, so obviously
at the
with
same time.
sports fandom, it's like it's different that way. So you can't say you weren't a neutral because you were rooting for Josh Allen.
Yeah, like
We-
I had more. I had more
before we hit
information.
record, you said I was depressed as a joke.
Yeah, no. So like, what I was trying to say is like, coming into this game, I was a neutral. Like you people consider I'm neutral because we're Colts fans.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, I have more implications.
No,
than
like
you
I
on
would
the
have,
game.
I would have said like literally like if I'm heavily
Like
rooting for
people,
Lamar to win.
yeah, like people would think we are neutrals. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay, that way. Okay.
Yeah.
But
and
anyways,
then, like compared to you being a neutral and compared
Let's-
to me, I had Josh Allen, which would
yeah.
honestly, which I predicted the Bills.
Hey, I
If-
had
if-
Bills too. I had Bills winning or going to the Super Bowl in the beginning of the year.
But you picked the Chiefs.
I said yeah. Then I changed
Yeah.
it because I was more confident in the Chiefs to do it. This
But yeah,
time.
no.
No. My question with Buffalo before we close it out.
This is a depressing one.
My question with Buffalo though, Sean McDermott, is he gonna get fired?
I don't know. I don't think he should. Reason being,
I don't think so either.
at the end of the day, like, what can Sean McDermott do? Like
I mean, the decision
every
not to-
single year, his defense is never healthy in the playoffs.
True.
Like
But what I'm
Tre'Davious
saying
White's.
is-
I don't know if I don't even remember the last. I'm pretty sure Tre'Davious White played last year in the playoffs, but I'm not fully confident. But like,
But the other guy was injured.
they had no safeties, Joe
Yeah.
Poyer and Micah Hyde. And then the year before, Tre'Davious White was injured.
The other guys played.
Then other guys played. Like they never had a fully healthy defense.
I guess like
Last year, Von Miller was injured. Their
We-
big signing.
their scapegoat though, right? That's the problem. Coach will get the scapegoat. That's the easiest guy to replace. I don't think he should deserve to be fired. I'm saying that at this right now. I thought if this was a disappointing loss, if like yeah, you could
Like,
criticize.
last year
You
was.
could criticize the.
Okay, I'm gonna make the difference from this year, last year quickly. Last year was disappointing. The ones against the Chiefs were genuine heartbreak.
That's what I was gonna say. Like,
Yeah.
if this was like last year, then I would have seen it. Why? If they didn't make the playoffs, I would have seen it. Why? The thing with Sean McDermott is we talked about it when the Spoelstra signing happened. Like you need to keep a culture. He has that culture going. You fixed the mistake. You have Joe Brady. I don't think he'll get a head coaching position, so he'll probably stay. And you already have you're the defensive play caller, I believe. If not, whoever your current defense guy is, he's doing fine as well.
Leslie Frazier.
So I don't think he should be
Leslie
fired.
Frazier.
Yeah, no, he's not.
He's not there?
No, he took a year off this year.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah.
That's why I'm saying I don't know who it was.
So I think it was Leslie Frazier.
It was Leslie Frazier,
and
not this year.
Then obviously this year, then he had to take over because yeah.
But
Maybe that's why they sucked offensively.
but something he should change, right? Because Burrow's gonna be back. I'm hoping the Chargers make a proper hiring, so the Chargers will be back. You're the team that's on your shirt right now. I hope they'll take a
Yeah,
step.
obviously you have the Texans making a jump.
Texans,
the Colts
Jags,
should make the jump.
Jags,
Jags, depending on
the
what
whole
they do.
AFC North, right? So either way, you gotta make a change. Your own division minus the Patriots, right? So the thing is for
I
me,
think that-
nothing for me. This is the
Yeah.
thing you gotta do. You probably have, if you need to free up cap space, I'm sorry, get rid of Stephon Diggs. Figure out a way to get rid of his money, right? Mike Evans is available. Mike Evans, next to Terry McLaurin, for me, is the most underrated receiver one there is. Him as a superstar wide receiver is definitely underrated. He doesn't get talked about as much.
That is true. But the thing is, I don't think replacing Diggs. I think you need someone with Diggs. At this,
They're not. What's his name? Who's the guy on TSN?
yeah, I know Diggs wasn't involved.
But what I'm saying, what's his name though? Luke Wilson.
Yeah, I know he said.
He's saying that the Joe Brady offense does not cater to Stephon Diggs. So if that's the case, and if that analysis is true, you move on from Stephon Diggs. I'm sorry.
I know, okay,
But you have to
that's
make a
fair.
change
That's
somewhere.
fair, but at the same time, everyone's attention's on Diggs. The Chiefs give a shit about Diggs. They're like, no, I don't care who beats us. Stephon Diggs is not going to beat us, right? And yes, I know I shot on them, especially from that one play. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong.
He had a bad year.
But yeah, I know. Obviously, after like week 6, he fell off.
Yeah.
But the thing is this: you need a guy secondary to him. At the end of the day, right? Like, and the best teams, obviously, other than the Chiefs last year, like look at the Niners. Many weapons, many good weapons.
Yeah, and I get
You take
that.
away Debo, you have Brandon Ayuk. You take away that, you have Kittle. The Ravens, you take away OBJ, they have Zay Flowers. You take away that, they have Mark Andrews coming back.
Yeah, which is why Baltimore now is
Exactly.
better than what they were a couple years ago. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that, but if you have to make up space and if he doesn't feature and he's been pain in the ass in the locker room from the OTAs.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see
Right.
your point. Yeah,
How else are they gonna free cap space? Maybe Von Miller.
maybe
Right?
Von Miller.
So
as
if they're
well.
gonna free up cap space, if you really want to get, they believe in Gabe Davis and Shakir now, if they do, and they have two solid tight ends, right? So depending on what Joe Brady wants to do with his offense, if it has to be Stephon Diggs, if I'm Buffalo fan, I'm pretty sure Buffalo fans won't care because Mike Evans is available.
Yeah,
And if Mike Evans, the way he performed, which we'll talk about in a second, he's an upgrade on Stephon Diggs, and you know that.
this is the same tier, man.
I think that's a major upgrade.
No,
I
it's
think,
not, man.
especially after this
it's
year,
not a major upgrade.
it's an upgrade.
Okay,
It's
it's not-
for
it's
me.
not.
Especially from this year's performance.
I'm not saying it's a downgrade. They're the same level. Like
No,
obviously
Mike
the
Evans-
play styles are different, but if you're looking at production wise, you can't discredit what Diggs did apart from like before this year.
But again, locker room wise, you got to look at it that way
Yeah,
too.
okay, yeah, that's a different story. I'm talking about play styles. This is not a major upgrade.
For me,
it's
it
a
is.
similar level.
It's a half a
It's-
tier. It's a half a tier at least.
No,
I'm sorry. I think Mike.
I disagree. With
Mike
that.
Evans is not talked about
I'm-
enough. I think
I'm-
he's
I'm
so
not, I agree
underrated.
with that. I agree with that. But he's not a major upgrade over Stephon Diggs. I'm sorry.
Bro, Buffalo, please make this change, and if you win the Super Bowl, you're welcome. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, but the point I'm trying to make here is like the teams that make the Super Bowl, aka the Eagles, the Bengals, the Rams,
I'm saying,
probably the Ravens.
what I'm saying.
They have multiple good weapons.
What I'm saying is partner them. I have no issues with
yeah, I'm
that.
saying partner them. I'm not saying get rid
But
of them.
if
for
I
that.
have to make that decision, and that's the way you're gonna do it, I'm fine with that too.
Yeah, no, but
I think Mike Evans is better than Stephon Diggs. I'm sorry.
I
I'm
don't
gonna say
think
that
so,
out there.
bro.
I think they're half
so.
a tier apart. That's
No,
just me.
No, they're in the same tier. Bro.
Everyone has an opinion. We
They're
can
in the
poll,
same
we'll
tier.
community poll it if we have to.
They're on the same tier.
I think they're half a tier
Just
better.
just because he freaking struggled this 1 year or half a season.
I think
you
Mike
gotta
Evans
take
just
him out of
year
the
after year
conversation?
never gets talked about. That's all.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree with that. But he's not a half a tier better than Stephon Diggs. He's not a major upgrade over Diggs.
We're gonna agree to disagree.
Oh, yeah, 100%, because I'm not.
This is gonna be if we ever do a debate episode, that's one debate episode we could do because
Yeah.
Mike Evans' numbers year after year,
They've
1,000
been
yard
incredible.
receivers
Yeah,
every
yeah.
year, right?
That,
So
the point that I'm not arguing that. The point I'm arguing, you said he's a major upgrade over Stephon Diggs.
listen, if
How
you
the
keep-
hell is he a major upgrade
Okay, fine.
after Stephon
half
Diggs?
a tier, half a tier.
I still don't agree with that.
I'm going half a tier. Major was a little exaggerated.
They're on the same tier.
I'll own up to that part. I won't say major. I'm half a tier. If you consider that major, then that's on you. Half a tier for me at least.
They're the same tier.
That's just me.
They're the same
There's
tier.
a reason why. Okay, I'm not gonna go.
They're
there.
both in the A tier.
If there's like a A plus, A tier, that's
There's
what I'm gonna
not-
put.
there's
it.
not.
That's just me.
There's
Then
not.
it's A and B.
It's
for me.
A,
Then it's
it's
B.
A and A.
Anyways, he's A
Let's
minus.
move on.
He's an
We're
A. No. Last thing I do want to say: if you do keep Stephon Diggs and D Hop gets bought out, go after D Hop.
I think-
That's the perfect. Then
That's
I
the point.
agree
Okay,
with you there.
okay. Getting back on topic here, other than this argument we just had,
Yeah.
I want to say is that like when I said the Rams, Bengals, the Eagles, the Niners, and Ravens were Super Bowl contenders this year, all have multiple great weapons. The Chiefs had it too with Hill and Kelsey. You don't have that in Buffalo. I'm sorry, you do not.
Yeah. So if
Like Dalton Kincaid could develop into that, but if you're really trying to go to it now, that's the one thing Buffalo is missing compared to all these other contenders
Then go get-
and teams that make the Super Bowl.
Then go-
And that's why I think replacing Stephon Diggs with Mike Evans, I don't think that's going to help because you're still in the same situation because you still have the number one guy. Mike Evans still has Chris Godwin. I'm not taking away from Mike Evans. Don't take that. Do not
Okay.
take it that way.
okay.
When Mike Evans gets cut out, which he should, like your defensive game plan should be Mike Evans. Tampa Bay still had Chris Godwin. Tampa Bay still had obviously Gronk
That's fine.
and all that stuff. You don't have that in Buffalo. You take away Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, all he does is run.
But okay, my point. Okay, now I have a question for you. This locker room issues. Now what?
Yeah, that's fair. But I was talking about on-field performance, right? And at the end of the day, if Diggs, yes, I know I'm going against what I just said. He did not have his best game, and
Best year, not even just game.
yeah, no, he didn't have his best year in general. So because of that, he shouldn't be saying shit in the locker room, anyways, right? At the end of the day, he has to own up to what he did this year. This year was on him, not on Josh Allen, not on anyone, not any coaching. The biggest disappointment this year in Buffalo was Stephon Diggs.
Okay, so to close this Buffalo side out,
So if he's a legit player, take the blame, get better, stop blaming your quarterback, stop blaming how you've been
All right,
treated because you didn't do anything yourself.
To close this out, ultimately, if you do keep, you got to figure out what your game plan is because you have it's a new offensive coordinator that came in the middle of the season, so he didn't have time to do adjustments. If Joe Brady can't figure out Stephon Diggs, then unfortunately you move on from him. Simple as that, right? It depends on what his game plan is ultimately, and if that involves a receiver like Mike Evans or whoever else is a free agent this year, you go after him and you partner him up. If D Hop gets cut, there you go. You do.
But yeah,
that.
so Bills have options. Bills have all this stuff they need to figure out. But at the end of the day, we're not saying it's a failed season for the Bills. It's still a good season. But at the end of the day, when you're in the playoffs, when you're a team that's expected, like, you know, when you want to win a Super Bowl and you have the capabilities of doing it, only one team is happy at the end of the year.
For sure, but this is one of those teams that is a Super Bowl
like
contender.
Cowboys are a fail. The Bills are still good. Like, they were a good season.
So you're pretty much putting the Giannis words here.
What?
You know what Giannis said last year about the failure of a season when he was asked that question?
Yeah.
Like, pretty much is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like for me, it's a failed season. I think they were a Super Bowl contender from the beginning. They had they give them credit for the bounce back. I'm fine with that. Yes, you're right. To your point, yeah, you're right. Only one team will be happy, but unfortunately, if you're not that team and you're that caliber of a team, it's a failed season. All right. He said it himself, Josh Allen. He's gonna say it himself. That's him. CJ Stroud said it. That one, I will disagree with him personally. I don't think it was a failed season for CJ Stroud. Him as a competitor, it is. Every player will think that way. Buffalo Bills, I'm sorry, it's still a failed season. He had Super Bowl contender written all over you. It's a failed season. But anyways, that's just me. We'll agree to disagree on two things.
Yeah. Just
unless you want to rebuttal what I said.
Just to finish off that, reason why I'm not gonna put on full failure just because at the end of the day you were injured as hell. Your backup linebackers were getting injured. Like, that just says your star linebackers are injured. Your backup linebackers are getting injured. You had to legit, like, if you didn't trade for Rasul Douglas, I don't think you had any cornerbacks.
Yeah, no.
And
unfortunately, it's part of the game.
And yeah, it's a part of the game. Don't get me wrong. And there's levels, right? Dallas Cowboys are a failure. You guys had an okay year. That's what I'm going to label it as.
All right, we'll
okay
leave it
to
there.
decent. Yeah, okay to good.
Kansas City we'll talk about more on Wednesday Thursday.
I mean, they're moving on. They're going to have more talk on them anyways. But next game.
Let's go AFC. You want to finish it off there?
Yeah, finish off the AFC. Ravens, Texans. Speaking of CJ Stroud. Yeah, the Ravens defense so legit. We'll start off with the Texans, but the Ravens defense was legit. That it made CJ Stroud struggle again, like he did in kind of in week 1.
Week 2 as well against Indy.
Yeah, no, we're talking about Ravens though.
Oh, I thought you were talking about...
No, we're talking about Texans, but like we're talking about the Ravens defense made him struggle.
Oh yeah,
again.
no, I'm just saying. Like,
yeah.
I was.
And also in Indy, he had like 380 yards and like 3 touchdowns.
I was exemplifying your point that when he was pressured and sacked, he struggled. That's what I was trying to say.
And even still in that game, he still had 380 yards and 3 touchdowns.
The game was out of reach in the beginning, anyways, for that
It
one.
was like
but anyways,
10-point game.
I saw a strat after we recorded the podcast that CJ struggles in outdoor games this year. Now, obviously, there's a factor with that, what you just said. But in general, I don't know how many other teams that I didn't look at which stadium, which was a non-dome stadium.
Jets, probably. I think MetLife's outdoor.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Jets game comes to mind, and then.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, his numbers weren't the greatest in outdoor compared to dome. I'm not saying that's the reason why they lost this game. It was clearly the Baltimore defense, and then Lamar just showing why he's the MVP probably this year. So to talk about Houston first, or you want to talk Baltimore?
Yeah, I already said Houston.
Houston, nothing much. Like I said, I don't think you guys didn't have a failed season. You weren't even supposed to be anywhere near here. Me and you were arguing that who's going to be 3rd or 4th between Indy and Houston. They ended up being 1 and 2, or Indy ended up being 3, but they were in that conversation of that game was essentially who's going to be 1 and out type of thing. Yeah. Which, there's no reason why even the Cleveland game, I thought you guys would have won that game, but many people did not at the same time as well. So yeah, at the end of the day, it wasn't really a failed season, but I learned a lot. And like we mentioned to you last time, this team is going to be scary because they have the cap space at the moment with a rookie quarterback who's playing like he's been in the league for 5 years. Mike Evans is available. If you want to go after T. Higgins, Michael Pittman, whoever you want, Nico Collins emerged this year. The question with Nico Collins will be, is he going to do this again next year? I believe with the quarterback with CJ Stroud, you will. Your favorite weapon was injured in Tank Dell. So who knows? The sky's the limit. Simple as that. There's nothing much to say. Defensively,
yeah, so
nothing much there to say as
well.
We're
going to bring it back to the game because at the end of the day, Houston has an easy offseason.
Yeah.
They have an easy offseason, whereas like compared to the Bills, bringing back to the game, we mentioned this. C.J. Stroud will pick you apart if he could just stand still in the pocket. If he could stay on his spot, which he did in Cleveland against the Cleveland Browns, he will pick you apart, and he did that. The Ravens did not let that happen at all. C.J. Stroud was always scrambling, moving around, trying to make a play. And C.J. Stroud, yes, he's shown he could do that, but he is best when he's standing still in the pocket, and where he could just throw the ball and use his accuracy as his best, strength, and just pick apart a defense. And the Ravens just were after him and after him. He was always off his spot, scrambling left, right, and it did just their offense never really troubled that defense at all. And on the flip side, their defense couldn't stop Lamar Jackson.
So the biggest factor,
especially in the second half.
The biggest factor was the rushing yards for both sides. That was ultimately the biggest eye-dropping number because Devin Singletary 22 yards, C.J. Stroud had 9 rushing, and then Ogunbowale had 7, whereas Lamar himself had 100, Hill had 66, Gus had 40, Dalvin had 23.
Yeah,
so like that alone, like that's almost that's 200 yards.
And yes, Ravens did took. I will flip over to Ravens quickly as well. Ravens did took a little bit of time to get clicking, but yeah, sometimes when they're off, like honestly, they were off 3 weeks because they didn't even play.
Yeah,
most of their starters.
The rust was there.
Rust was there, and it wore off at halftime, and they shined in the second half and just dominated. I think they dropped like 20 points in the second half. I think it was a 10-10 game at halftime. And obviously we said this again. They are a team with no weakness right now.
No weakness. Out of all the 4 remaining teams, they had their moments of flaws in the regular season.
But that was like,
it wasn't even like
that was their own doings.
Exactly.
Right. Whereas like when we saw like the Niners, like okay, this is concerning. When we saw like the Chiefs, this was concerning.
Yeah. And then with this is so my question to you, because literally he's your favorite player. The running back argument comes back.
Yeah.
And all those people from a couple of years ago saying he's a running back now have not talked much because he's finally got weapons and a different system.
Okay, here's the thing. When you get weapons, when you have people to throw to,
yeah,
you're gonna throw to them.
Yeah.
Because they're open. And when you gotta run, you gotta run.
Yeah.
Right? Lamar has proved that he could pass the ball. Right? This year was gonna be on Lamar if the Ravens did not succeed.
Yeah.
And Lamar killed it. He has help. And yes, obviously he's rushing for 100 yards. It's a part of the game. Suck it up.
So you know
right? Like he is a quarterback and he is one of the best quarterbacks in the game. Right? Do you like his running? If you don't, those are the people calling him running backs. Don't like Josh Allen. Don't like Kyler Murray. Don't like Patrick Mahomes. Don't like Anthony Richardson. Do not like Michael Vick. Do not like Cam Newton. You have no right to like those players if you're calling them a running back too. Call those guys running backs.
Mahomes a little bit separate. He makes
and honestly, Josh Allen too. Like the main ones are like Richardson.
But QB running designs are everyone you said, but
Cam
Mahomes.
Newton.
Yeah.
And what's his name? Michael Vick.
Yeah. To your point, you design QB runs for all those quarterbacks you named, but Patrick Mahomes. He just ends up scrambling, right?
Oh, he has some designs.
But for, like not as many as
not
as
others. Many, yeah.
But yeah, no, I hate that argument. I genuinely do because now he's gonna run even more because guess what? You have weapons, so you have more space to run. Like, if anything,
he has a strength. Why are you knocking on that? Like he could run
exactly. So like the point is,
the quarterback is in the position where like you gotta move, right? You gotta make plays. You gotta use your legs.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean you're a running back.
Listen, Baltimore showed it when he was injured last year and the whole contract situations, and the year before. They were bad. Like they couldn't really win a game without him.
Last year, obviously, they were still good, which kind of knocked on Lamar.
Yeah.
The year before, they were bad. Last year, they still made the playoffs. Right? You had to give them credit for that.
Shit, really.
Yeah, you had to give them credit for making the playoffs.
But like this year, they're elevated.
Yeah, obviously, it's a different level.
So my point is like with the whole Lamar Jackson thing is now, if anything, he's going to end up getting more rushing guards because the field opens up, because Zay Flowers emerged as a rookie. OBJ is still playing, showing that
Isaiah likely stepped up.
Isaiah likely stepped up when Mark Andrews was out, and Mark Andrews was there.
You still have Bateman. You have Aguilar, who's obviously still decent.
But you have options now, so you're gonna have space to run like he did then, right? So yeah, that I never liked that argument to begin with. If you have a strength, great. Like I would understand if his accuracy was so low. Then for sure. Then it's not like he's freaking Derrick Henry constantly like throwing. Like Derrick Henry, yeah, he has the set plays where he throws a touchdown pass, but that doesn't mean he's that, right?
Okay, the thing is this. Yes,
There's a reason why he won the Heisman too.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing. I wouldn't have hated the argument if he was missing throws, right? Like
Yeah.
if he's missing wide open throws, he's a running back. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
he's not.
Exactly.
He's making those throws, and he's making even more tougher throws. At the end of the day, they're just mad. Yeah, you're just mad.
Yeah.
You're just mad if you're saying that because he will be your MVP. He has performed in this playoff run so far, and let's see what he does. A big test against the Chiefs.
Most passionate I've seen you in a while.
Yeah,
But no, last thing I do
Little
want to
bit.
mention with
it's my favorite players:
Yeah, I know.
Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson.
The last thing I do
I
want
was
to
gonna be
mention.
animated this one.
Last I think I want to say with the Ravens, because we're going to again talk about that matchup more on Thursday's pod, is Mark Andrews did not play this game, but he's likely to come back the next game. So you're going to have Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, who could alternate and played well, and then you still have all those weapons. And guess what? Lamar is doing this without his safety blanket. Now he has a safety blanket, his go-to guy that he had all those years.
Yeah, man. Ravens have no weakness. But let's move
Yeah.
on to the NFC side. We'll go off with the Buccaneers and Lions game.
You want to go with that? Okay.
Yeah, just because I feel like the other game was closer.
That's what I'm saying. I thought we should lead off with that.
Buccaneers and Lions. Lions are at the end of the day, they're the better story.
Yeah.
What a atmosphere it was in Ford Field. Obviously, I think this game was the most expensive game.
Yeah.
For
I mean, I
tickets.
was wrong, but
But yeah, you were wrong. That was for sure because the Lions in the fourth quarter,
yeah.
they just cooked. And yes, it was close. Don't get me wrong. Baker proved me wrong. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers proved me wrong this year. I'll say it. I'll come on and say that.
Same.
But when it comes down to the moments, this Lions team was the better team overall. And yes, it took them a little bit of time. But when it came to the second half, they were a team that they just needed to have good plays back to back together. Defense gets a stop, give the ball to offense. They score, and they had that in the fourth quarter. Scored in 3 straight drives, touchdowns, not even field goals. So scored 3 straight touchdown drives, and just blew the game apart basically. And Buccaneers still had a chance. Don't get me wrong, but the Lions were better.
Yeah. Tampa obviously did well. The question with Tampa is gonna be next year, and let's see. Dennis Allen is still the Saints coach, so I'm not confident with that. But they're gonna have a new offensive system. We'll see. I don't think Eagles are gonna be this bad. I don't think. I hope one of if depending on who Atlanta gets as a coach won't be this bad, as well. Same thing with the
Atlanta needs a quarterback
yeah.
as well.
essentially. But either way, the question is Baker, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson kind of proved it in a way. And they obviously with their back and forth saying that they'll be a better team if they just have a better quarterback. Baker balled out. Don't get me wrong.
He
No-
balled
not
out.
today, but I'm just saying.
He still played really good.
Like obviously
He still played really good.
But the problem is, can you win with Baker?
Yeah, obviously
And
that's
he's
what
gonna he earns the contract he's gonna get from Tampa most likely.
But here's the thing, man. There's very few quarterbacks that you could win with, and there's very fewer than that that have actually proved and
The
done.
problem with them is also
done
Mike
with.
Evans might leave.
Yeah, no, that is also a factor. But we're sticking to the subject of Baker,
Yeah.
and obviously Lions. You're gonna get more talk across a next pod, anyways, because you
we'll
won.
talk a little bit more
But
after
we're-
this. but-
yeah, Buccaneers side. We're gonna just quickly give their little outlook here. Here's the thing with Baker. Yes, I agree with you. He's not a quarterback. Like, can he take you to the Super Bowl? Obviously, if he has his
a solid team around him. with
yeah,
the proper
that's
play
true.
calling.
And then if he has a Stafford run like he did for the Rams, he has a chance. Don't get me wrong. He needs to play like this, right? And the issue with Baker is inconsistent years. He has a good season here. Obviously, the one good season with the Browns and his rookie season with the Browns.
Yeah.
So 2 good years with the Browns. Terrible last year. Good this year. So yes, he deserves to be a starter. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, 100% agree with that.
But there's very few people like
Yeah.
who, like Joe Burrow has proven he could take his team to the Super Bowl. Josh Allen, yes, he hasn't made the Super Bowl, but it's fair to
yeah.
he goes toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? He's a playoff quarterback, right? You can win with Josh Allen.
Oh,
You can win. Obviously, you could win with Patrick Mahomes, and Lamar recently proved that you could win with him right now. Obviously, depending on what happens in the championship game, and yeah. So like, honestly, Jared Goff.
That's what I'm saying. So I didn't like your Matthew Stafford comparison. I'm sorry with that. I'm disagreeing with
I
that.
know, but I'm saying like,
But I'm saying
Matthew Stafford had a good
but
run.
my point is he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo. So for me though, he's still like he's a tier below Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, I didn't
But
compare
he's
him.
but
Okay.
no, you just think because how Stafford made it.
Yeah,
that's why.
no, I'm not. I'm
But-
saying he has to go on a Stafford type run.
Yeah, no, that's
I'm
what,
not-
that's what I'm
because
saying.
because
So,
th-
but
I think when Baker plays, it could be to that Stafford
it's that
level.
Goff's
Like-
Rams year is the exact version
yeah.
you need. But the problem is Baker gonna get that? How good is his play calling gonna be? Right. I'm rooting for Baker. Like I feel like he gets unnecessary hate a lot of times.
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
true.
Right. But again, like that last drive cannot happen.
Yeah, it was a Jordan Love. It was what happened with Jordan Love.
And the difference between him and Jordan Love is Jordan Love,
is a rookie.
yeah,
I think
essentially a rookie.
He's essentially a rookie.
Yeah.
The thing with the Stafford one is like, that's what I like. Baker at his highest of level is what I could see Stafford did that year with the Rams.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Baker is Stafford.
Yeah.
Stafford is better,
Yeah.
but I'm not saying like Baker's not gonna be Mahomes. Like if I would say Baker's gonna like at his highest level, he would do what Stafford did that year. That's what I
Yeah.
was trying to say. I'm not saying Baker is Stafford.
Yeah, that's the tough part. Like you said, you need for a quarterback like that to go all the way to even win it. Like
Yeah,
Russell
like-
Wilson his rookie year, you need a solid
And
ass
at the end of the day,
defense and you need a solid ass play calling.
Stafford had the help too, right?
Yeah, but
And,
I feel like Stafford could have made the big. He's able to make the bigger play. But like guy like Garoppolo and Goff, Russell Wilson rookie year or second year whenever he won it, it was more that he had the surrounding pieces help him along with the coaching. I don't know if Todd Bowles is that guy overall. I forget who Canales is his name. I think the OC.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know if he's the guy.
He did an incredible job.
He did a good job. Don't get me wrong, clearly. But again, if you're gonna go against in your own division against the Eagles, Cowboys, and the Cowboys, I get it.
Eagles.
No, in their general, like
They're-
you're gonna be going against the teams like the Eagles,
Yeah, so
Cowboys.
they're not in the division.
No, I said
Yeah.
I meant the conference.
Yeah.
Eagles, Cowboys, Lions, Packers now.
Niners.
According to you, Pack is back. So
That's according to Jair.
uh,
Niners. Is the biggest
Niners,
one.
maybe the Seahawks and the Rams, right? So it's gonna be tough at the end of the day. So it all just depends. But yeah, I think that. But give credit to Tampa Bay all around. Baker proved what he needed to prove, and let's give him an opportunity next year.
Hey,
and
man.
hopefully it's not a fluke.
At
That's
the,
all it is
At the end of the day, Baker had a better playoff run than Tua, better playoff run than Dak,
for sure.
better than Jalen. Obviously,
This year,
Jalen.
but Jalen's done more.
Jalen's done more. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dak and Tua, he's done better than them in the playoffs.
Detroit though, man, oh man, like they had a lot of flaws in the middle of the year around Thanksgiving, American
Yeah,
Thanksgiving.
especially defensively.
Yeah.
That was their biggest issue. But
It helps that CJ Garner Johnson's back as well.
yeah, it helps when they're a little bit more healthier in that case. But the thing was this team needs to like, they're not gonna dominate like defensively. Like their defense is never gonna take over a game. Like how the Chiefs defense could take over, how the Ravens defense could take over, and the Niners defense could take over.
Yeah.
Like we could clearly say that they have the worst defense out of the remaining four teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the thing with this is they need to do what the Bills defense do against the Chiefs, and they did that the last two games.
Yeah.
Right. They kept the game close. Their offense is clearly the better unit.
So for that is Goff
and-
just needs to not make mistakes.
Yeah, and then the run game is obviously
Oh, Jameer Gibbs killed it.
yeah, and their run game is their more identity. They're gonna run the ball. They just need to make sure they're complementary, right? They can't have a game where like, okay, this is how they'll lose their next game. If the offense plays good in the first half and the defense plays good in the second half, then you get like drives where spurts in the game where their defense and offense are cooking at the same time, right? They need to be complementary
Doesn't
at all. Like
they're
all three of their phases. That's how they'll win this game.
they'll be good on the line.
That's how they win
both
games. I'm not saying this game. Like that's how they won every year, or
Yeah.
win last year and this year.
Yeah, they're a team that's built for the trenches, I would say.
Oh yeah, offense line
And-
is one of the best.
And
in
the
the
other
league.
reason why they would win games is Goff. Right, Goff got lucky in the first half a little bit. He should have had 2 picks. There was 2 that I saw. One was clear. I thought Tampa.
Yeah,
had.
one was clear and one was whatever.
Yeah. So,
Say that for everyone.
but again, you're playing against San Francisco, so it's gonna be tough. Again, we'll talk about that matchup later. So yeah, the key to win in general for them is get
They need to be complimentary.
Just Goff be
That's my key.
Goff just be what he was. Goff does what he did today essentially, and then the run game just takes off. But again, we'll talk about more of them on Thursday. But let's go to the last game, where we almost had a scare.
Packers Niners. Yeah, so obviously we'll talk about the Packers later on. We'll talk about the Niners first, just because we'll give a quick outlook for the Packers as well.
Yeah.
Starting off with the Niners. I don't know if this is. I think personally, this is a good game to have for them.
And why is that?
Because when do they ever have their backs against the wall?
This is the
When do they ever like?
they're now 1-30.
When they play the Cowboys, shit kicked them. When they play the Eagles, they shit kicked them, right? Other teams that they played, like most of their wins, it wasn't a back and forth. They had to claw themselves out.
Yeah.
They were just the better team.
Before this
They
game,
were always in control of the game.
before this game, the stat was Kyle Shanahan was 0-30 going into the fourth quarter when down by 7 or more. Now they're 1-30, right? And this is Kyle Shanahan's career, not play, because obviously 30 play is insane for the span, right? So it is his Kyle Shanahan's career as a head coach. And Kyle Shanahan is also a guy who's been on the wrong end of giving up leads late as well, right? Obviously, we remember Atlanta, and we remember the Chiefs Super Bowl when they lost, right? So he needs to obviously do the flip of things, and he did that for the first time as well. And so, correct. To your point, I agree with that. Brock Purdy didn't have the greatest games. It doesn't help when Debo got hurt. I think George Kittle played well. Ayuk's going to be Ayuk. So I think, and obviously McCaffrey.
The thing is this. Brock Purdy, at the end of the day, yes, he's a 7-round pick. Like, you give credit to Brock Purdy, what he has done so far.
Yeah.
He had the perfect start to his career, and that is true. Obviously, he faced some adversity in the middle of the year, which honestly,
every quarterback
should have, and that was his first time doing that, right? This kid never lost a freaking regular season game until
this year,
the week
6,
week 6 against the Browns.
5, 6, around
No,
there,
it was not even 4. I think they were like 5-0 at least.
Yeah, week 6, 7.
Yeah,
which was slightly concussed, I still believe.
Yeah, so obviously Brock Purdy, he wasn't at his best. No, he wasn't, but when he needed to be, he was. And at the end of the day, in the playoffs, that's all it takes.
Yeah,
you could have a shit first half, right? But if you're good in the second half, good when it matters, and Brock Purdy was good when it mattered, whereas Jordan Love was not. Unfortunately.
Yeah. So let's talk about them. Honestly, I thought he had more than 194 yards, but
yeah, and
Jordan
then
Love. The thing with Jordan Love, you have your guy.
You have your guy, yeah.
The Packers have their guy. They got their 4th straight quarterback. Essentially, every other team is essentially jealous that is still looking for their first ever quarterback, aka Chicago. We don't know if Justin Fields is the answer there, but yeah, ultimately, he had one start last year, and then he played a couple of games.
Really? Like, I don't think
he had one full game, and I think he came in for a couple of.
Yeah, if it was probably like that.
So essentially, you could say, like, in terms of an NBA or NHL, this could be a rookie year based on how you describe it in their league, right?
Oh, it is a rookie year in those leagues.
In those leagues, right? So the thing is, for me, you found your guy. Obviously, he's a young guy. He's prone to make that mistake. Yeah, Brock Purdy's a young guy too, but again, he's been in those moments already, right?
Yeah, so, Brock Purdy's like very experienced.
Yeah, considering this is his second year.
Yeah.
Jordan Love obviously came down to the fourth quarter. He threw that one pick early in the fourth, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then obviously the last pick was like to try to go down, and him and Baker had a similar moment there. But outside of that, man, that one ball that he threw, I forgot when, third quarter, what it was.
Probably his third quarter, man.
And
that's when it
he did pick that defense apart. And now, granted, this is not the same D'Amico Ryans led defense, and who's the Jets? Robert Saleh led defense. So even though Steve Wilkes did a good job, they still have the pieces there. But at the same time, it's still the Niners. You have Nick Bosa. You have Chase Young. You got Eric Armstead. You have Fred Warner. You have who's their corner?
Travius Ward.
Travius Ward. So they're still solid, and you picked them apart. The week before, you picked apart Dallas.
Yeah.
Right.
Obviously, yes, you didn't have
this experience is going to help. Yeah, them a lot.
You didn't have the same level of game as you did against Dallas. Don't get me wrong, but you were still good, right? Like at the end of the day, nobody gave you a chance.
Yeah,
and you had the lead. Like, and again, like the Buffalo game, the kicker is gonna take some blame.
Yeah,
for sure. But it was just situational. Like, and in that moment of the game, Jordan Love had enough time. He had like 2 timeouts still remaining. He still had obviously it was a first down play when he threw that pick, or a second down. He still had a couple of attempts, like downs left. It was just the safer play was just, either just scrambling out of bounds, or just throwing it away. And yes,
you'll learn from that.
It's something you're gonna learn from, right?
Listen, you got a great play caller in Matt LaFleur. And all those guys that were saying back in the day, oh, Matt LaFleur is ruining Aaron Rodgers, or why would he draft a quarterback? These guys are laughing now. This is a match made in heaven for both of them.
Yeah,
Like, a coach that trusts you that much is insane.
And
No discredit to Detroit. They did everything phenomenal this year. Next year, that division is going to come between those two teams, and it might be more head-to-head than it was this year, obviously.
And the thing is this, right? Matt LaFleur, when he's calling plays for Aaron Rodgers, you could realistically say Aaron Rodgers is calling the play,
Yeah.
right? Like at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers could dispute the play call and make his own. Jordan Love doesn't have that pedigree to do that, right? So this is like what we saw this year from Matt LaFleur
Masterclass.
was a true Matt LaFleur masterclass.
Listen, if it wasn't for D'Amico, if it wasn't for Kevin Stefanski, even like John Harbaugh, he could have been consideration for
Even Shane Steichen.
coach of the year. I mean, he made the playoffs. That's why I'm not putting Shane Steichen in.
But yeah, no, Packers, youngest team in the NFL, and you made the playoffs. You're definitely gonna be back.
Pack is back.
Pack is back. That is for sure. I would definitely consider adding an O lineman just for
sure.
Yeah, one O lineman just for a back to your
Again,
replacement.
you're a team. But I saw a report from Adam Schefter that they're willing to give him big money. I think it's a little risky. Don't get me wrong. I think they should wait like half a year at the minimum and give it to him next year just to see, because it's risky giving a quarterback a lot of money in this first
year. Yeah,
first year. And listen, even if he gets it, I believe in the dude.
Yeah.
To do it, right? Same thing with Jalen Hurts. That was his first proper year, going off like that. I think he deserved it. We'll talk about Philly in a second because they have some coaching news there. I think Jordan Love will live up to it. Don't get me wrong, but I still think it's still a slight risk. I wouldn't have given. We don't know if it's nothing there yet, but Schefter's reporting that they will give
definitely
a lot of money.
Packers definitely need to improve on the defensive side. Obviously, they do have incredible playmakers. Jair being one, Jonathan Owens I think is a really good safety. Darnell Savage is a good safety. You have Rashawn Gary, Devondre Campbell, Kenny Clark as your D tackle. I mean, obviously a lot of criticism goes to their DC Joe Barry as well. So maybe that could be a switch there they might make. But at the end of the day, Packers, you're set. As simple as that.
Yeah, so that's it for all the division games. And we'll talk about the 2 championship matchups on Thursday.
And predict them as well.
And we'll rank the matchups, everything then.
Let's move on to the news.
So we got another coaching position off the board. And it is the Las Vegas Raiders. So there were rumors that there was going to be Jim Harbaugh, whoever else, Bill Belichick, whatever the case may be, because Brady is, I think, in the ownership group there as well. But they listened to Max Crosby, because Max Crosby said, if it isn't Antonio Pierce, I will request a trade, most likely. And the Raiders went out and they hired Antonio Pierce full-time. I don't hate it. I'm not going to sit there and say anything negative about it, because they had a similar situation with Rich Bisaccia a couple of years ago.
And they didn't do it.
They completely ignored it, and they went to the absolute worst option, in my opinion. Like, it's not like you went after a Shane Steichen if he was available then, but I'm just saying in general. Yeah, similar to Gerard Mayo, he was not really a coordinator, I believe.
He was linebackers.
They're both linebackers coaches.
They're both linebackers.
That became head coaches, and the players you want to play for, right? And I have nothing against this. I still think you still need a coordinator experience. That's just me. But he obviously, the difference between him and Mayo is he proved it this year, and the Raiders, they had a fighting chance, like, still.
Yeah, they did.
Until the end of the year, they all were playing for him. They're all happy. Even Devontae Adams, who might not request a trade now, but I think he still should. Even with Max Crosby, I think he still should. But we'll see how this team goes. They have a culture. I think he gives me Dan Campbell vibes in that sense. So nothing wrong with the hire for me.
I don't think Dan Campbell had coordinator experience himself, as well.
I think maybe, I don't know.
I think he was a linebackers coach himself or something.
So moral of the story: hire your team's linebacker coach.
Exactly. Yeah. Like,
I'll double check Dan Campbell, but yeah, like, your thoughts on the hire?
Yeah, it was the best move, right? I wasn't really happy when they didn't do it with Rick Bisaccia.
Yeah.
So they can't make the same mistake twice. Antonio Pierce was the favorite, and he got it. It was well deserved. At the end of the day, they made the right choice.
Yeah. So Dan Campbell, just very quickly, since we want to get our facts right, he was a tight ends coach for Miami. He was an interim head coach for Miami in 2015. Then he was the assistant head coach at New Orleans and a tight ends coach. So he wasn't even on the defensive side.
Oh, he's a tight ends coach.
Weird, because I thought he was a defensive player.
Yeah, I thought he was too. Maybe.
Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe we might be stupid. I mean, we are stupid.
No, he's a former tight end, so yeah.
Yeah,
we're
no,
stupid. I don't
we
know
are- we are
why.
stupid.
He just seemed like a defensive dude. That's
I mean, if you're biting kneecaps,
that's what I thought.
I would
right?
assume you're a defensive.
Okay,
guy.
never mind. He's a tight ends guy. So,
yeah.
but no, yeah, nothing wrong with the hire. The players wanted him. He proved himself this year. Give him a chance. The unfortunate thing is you're also a franchise that fires coaches a lot, as well. Recently,
I mean, at the end of the day, right? Like
Gruden wasn't your fault completely, but
the thing is this: you gotta have a nice little reset there and well. So like, the fact that you found a coach that could these players want to play for that this coach already set a culture for you, right? You already have the first piece set.
your
You
biggest
have
thing
the first
though
thing
is
set.
you need a quarterback. I know you love their guy, right?
Yeah, you know, Connell.
But chances are where you're picking right now, you just gotta nail your offensive stuff.
Yeah, you
That's
really
the
do.
key thing.
I
You
think-
nail your offensive staff, like D'Amico did, you're fine. That's all I gotta say with that.
Yeah, you just gotta nail your off. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and even personnel wise, I think obviously quarterbacks being one. I would say quarterback and O line. Weapons wise, you have Devontae. You could obviously add another one. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
What's his name? Jacoby Myers had a pretty good year, and then obviously you have Josh Jacobs looking, depending on what you do with him in free agency as well.
But yeah, so that's another hiring. So that's 2 down the drain. I don't know if they need to hire a GM still though. So I'm not sure if they're one of the teams that need a GM. But another news that's looking like it's happening. We already mentioned Mike McCarthy staying last time, right?
Yes.
Okay, so another coach most likely staying is Nick Sirianni. So he ain't getting fired, but they need to fire. They're saying that they need to fire both coordinators, which is why what confuses me is that Brian Johnson, I think that's his name.
The OC.
The
Yeah.
OC is getting head coaching nods because Jalen Hurts said, like, there was reports that Jalen, like, you know how he said Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy at the time and kind of LaFleur. He's also been audibling a lot this year. So you could clearly tell something was wrong there. So that's why that's a little surprising to me that if he
Okay.
he gets a head coaching spot.
I'm not saying Rodgers audible, but I'm saying
No. I'm just saying in general.
like the play calling was for.
I know he did that with
Rodgers.
McCarthy 100%.
Yeah,
but
no, but like the LaFleur play calling
Yeah.
was just solely around Rodgers,
Yeah.
whereas this year it was around
Yeah.
the Packers.
But going back to it, so we'll see what happens with the OC side of things, because then if he does leave, I think he'll be gone if the relationship's that bad, if you're keeping Sirianni. And the one guy who's linked there is Jim Bob Cooter, or Colts guy, which means we might be hiring someone again in some sort of way. But going back to it, the defensive
Yeah,
side of things,
defensively.
DC gone. Sean Desai is officially fired. I think they had issues with him hiring from the outside instead of promoting within when they lost Gannon, right? So I think that was a concern with I guess Jeff Lurie and Howie Roseman. So we'll see what they do. To your point, off camera, you're like, oh, then what the hell? What's wrong with Patricia? He's not getting fired because he's out of contract and he ain't coming back.
Oh, so
So there's that. Right?
that's easy.
I'm sure he would have been gone otherwise. I think that
Yeah.
was the reporting anyways. So yeah, Sean Desai is officially gone. Let's see what they do with the defense. I think one name popped up as Mike Martindale. I saw from what I saw.
Yeah, no,
And
he's
listen,
available.
he's available and he might want to stay in the division and shut.
I mean, if you guys want Gus Bradley,
I'm fine with it. Like, I think we're keeping Gus at this point.
Yeah.
But if you do, I'm fine with getting rid of Gus. But yeah, so Wink Martindale, perfect spot. He wants revenge on the Giants too. There you go.
yeah,
But-
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's one thing. A lot of other coaches have done interviews or have been requested for interviews. But the one name that still surprises me is Steve Spagnuolo. I've never seen his name in coaching interview list.
yeah.
I don't know what has happened in the past, so don't get me wrong there. But outside of that, yeah, I don't know otherwise.
Obviously, if there was a year, this was the year,
Yeah.
right? And obviously, we know Spags. He's been a great DC for the Chiefs. Won 2 Super Bowls with them.
Yeah.
So obviously he knows what he's doing, and yeah. So if there was a year, this was a year, because this was the first time in the Chiefs era, the Mahomes era, that the defense was better than the offense.
Yeah. I think the thing is that the coaches that will get hired now, because the reason why these 2 coaches got hired now is because they were within, right? Gerard Mayo and
Yeah.
Antonio Pierce. The thing with the others are, I think the Colts, I don't know if they hired before the Super Bowl. I think it was after the Super Bowl officially.
The
hired.
interviews were like during the Super Bowl. Like yeah,
The interviews were the week.
Then again, like-
the proper interviews were for the teams that were currently in the playoffs. So the 4 teams that are right now. So let's just say Todd Monken.
after championship week.
Yeah, it was after the championship week because you have that week off to do it.
So maybe
Everyone else though, so like a guy like Ben Johnson who has interviewed apparently at a few spots, will probably get a proper interview during that week. So we won't know. But guys like Kellen Moore, who've been just eliminated. Oh, sorry, not Kellen Moore. What am I saying?
was like, why Kellen Moore?
Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn, who've just been eliminated. Guys like that will probably have a chance, but obviously they still might wait to have a proper interview with the guys that are potentially available. Speaking of which, Eric Bieniemy has interviewed for the Washington job as well. So I'm not sure how, what's the meter on the hiring there. So we'll see how it goes. But so yeah, a lot of these coaches have interviewed or have been requested.
Well, it makes sense, man. This is how it's always done. It's always has been. So the reason why Spags might not have it done is just because they want a proper interview after the championship.
But you still have
weekend.
a request for it.
Yeah, that's true as well. But yeah, that's NFL talk for today.
Yeah, unless something breaks out of nowhere at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I don't think any coach is getting hired at the moment.
Let's move on to the NHL, sticking with the coaches theme. Little bit of a surprise considering the timing, because we thought there would be no more coaching changes. And there was, outside of this one, there might be another one that will still happen, which we'll talk about in a second. But shout out to Greg Wyshynski, because I did tweet at him when this happened.
Yeah.
Lane Lambert is let go, but the surprising part is how quick the announcement was, and it was Patrick Waugh.
The return of Patrick Waugh in the coaching.
Yeah.
The coaching industry. Obviously, Patrick Waugh was a former Avalanche coach as well. Was he in Montreal?
He was a player there.
I don't know if he was a player there. But yeah, from off the top of my head, Colorado coach. Wasn't the best. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Well, we could say that much. But I guess the Islanders who made that move, they won their first game today.
So they were on a 4-game losing streak. They were literally sitting comfortable top 3 for a little bit there. Now they're out of a playoff spot, and they're 2 points out of the wild card spot right now.
Yeah, it's funny.
And 4 points out of the division.
Who knew a senior NHL ESPN guy actually knows what he's talking about, right? Like
the reason why I'm confused is this, right? At the time, it was confusing. He's saying that like half the team is saying fire him still, and half the fan base is saying don't fire him because he was doing well.
Yeah.
When he mentioned it on Halford and Brough, I remember I was listening to it on the radio. He said that he's the next guy to go, even before DJ Smith. And then when he did our pod, I think 2 weeks later, the last one that he came on with us, he said that like DJ Smith for sure, which he ended up being the next guy, but then Lane Lambert is still a weird one. That's exactly what he said. That's why when I tweeted at him from the BTR account, I'm like, hey, to be fair, Greg got this for about a month ago. And then some guy commented at me, you mean the Patrick Waugh part? I didn't reply to that, but not the Patrick Waugh part, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think for me it's January. I guess there's close enough that if there is a coach bump, it could still make the playoffs. It's not like when Edmonton was a couple of months ago and how the Canucks were last year and stuff like that. So
last couple of years for Canucks as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's where I'm not surprised as much, but at the same time I'm like, you still want to keep the continuity. But yeah, so like he's gone. But I do want to say one thing. Bo Horvat has I think 5 coaches in the last 3 years.
That's crazy.
He went from Travis Green to Bruce Boudreau to Rick Tocchet to now the 2 Lane Lambert and now Patrick Waugh. 5 coaches since that Travis Green fired.
And honestly, he's still playing pretty decent.
He's been playing well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so any reaction otherwise? Surprised, not surprised?
I mean, I trust our ESPN guy.
But here's the thing though. The guy that is still now back on the hot seat. Do you know who it is?
Mike Sullivan?
No. They're doing fine now, I think.
Oh, who then?
Sheldon Keefe.
Oh, okay, yeah. I should have guessed that. I'm actually just
because they're struggling.
Yeah, they've been on a 4-game losing streak. Obviously, I think they lost that last like 5 out of their 6 or something like that. The issue with the Leafs at the moment is they've been blowing leads. Obviously, apart from the Canucks game, they've been losing. Like they were winning and they collapsed in the third period every single time.
Yeah.
So, AKA being choke artists.
Yeah.
And Sheldon Keefe, it was one of the guys. I'm like, if you fired Dubas, why aren't you firing Keefe?
Yeah.
Right? And I guess Brian Gutekunst didn't fire Keefe, giving another chance. It's the Cowboys, right? Like you're still sticking.
Who did you say?
Brian Gutekunst.
You mean
No,
no,
what the hell?
No, that's the NFL.
That's the NFL guy, yeah.
I was like, wait, what?
That's the Packers. Huh?
Shanahan.
No, the Calgary guy that went there. I forgot his name.
Oh, Treliving.
Brad Treliving.
Yeah.
I said the Packers GM. I'm gonna have the Packers back.
But Shanahan still makes
yeah, obviously. Treliving and the Shanahan backed Keefe, and they're the Cowboys, right? Like they're genuinely the Cowboys.
The other concerning part with the Maple Leafs is that like their regulation wins aren't there. Right? Like, in their last 10, they're 5-4-1. Their overall record is 23-14-8. Tampa, by the way, made a big push and they're back in the third seed.
This is a team where, like, yo, they could win the Atlantic Division this year,
Yeah.
and obviously they haven't. Whereas the Cowboys won their
So like
division.
them firing Keefe and whoever they hire can benefit them still because they're in a playoff spot right now.
Yeah, no, Sheldon Keefe. I don't think will they pull the trigger, because they really haven't. Like, every time we say they're gonna pull the trigger, they didn't.
If they do, this is the last coach to be fired. I don't know. You're right. Mike Sullivan still could be the guy, but I don't think he will.
It's like genuinely, like, if the Leafs are still in a playoff position,
But
right?
okay, this is their schedule coming up.
I think the only way he does get fired if
They beat the Kraken today.
if they fall out of the playoff spot.
They beat the Kraken today. Yeah, I agree with that. But how late though? Because this is their schedule. So you tell me. Jets, at Jets then. Which is weird because they're going home to play the Jets and then they're going to go away to the Jets.
They always do that home and home thing.
That's weird though. Like they're going home to play the Jets. Islanders, Stars, Senators, Blues, Flyers, Ducks, Blues, Coyotes. So it's an easy schedule to
It's
the 21st.
pretty favorable,
outside of the Jets.
Yeah.
Then you have the Golden Knights, Avalanche, Golden Knights.
Yeah, no. So you gotta get done.
Your
in this
schedule
stretch.
gets tough after.
Yeah. So
for the next
obviously,
stretch.
apart from the Jets and the Stars, like, you gotta get it figured out now.
So their problem is they don't. I mean, the trade deadline ain't till March, as well. And the difference between them and Edmonton is Edmonton made their change, and Edmonton have been nuts ever since.
Yeah.
Like they're still, in my opinion, probably the best team in the West, outside of Vegas. In terms of like best Canadian team for sure. Like if I have Canucks or the Jets play Edmonton in the playoffs, I'm
yeah.
gonna
Like
favor
if you're factoring in, like, the last couple of years, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oilers. But if you're saying this year completely, then it's the Canucks.
Yeah, but I'm just saying
Like,
I'm
on-ice
I'm
performance, yeah.
factoring all.
But
the
if you're
things.
factoring, like, roster and, like,
Yeah, everything.
expectation, then
But
it is Oilers.
what I'm saying is Toronto should be that. Like realistically, it should be Toronto, Edmonton, top 2 Canadian team.
Yeah,
realistically.
that's just true. Yeah.
Even with how the Canucks and Jets are playing, beginning of the year, you wouldn't you would have thought it would have been Toronto, Edmonton.
like, we're not knocking the Canucks and the Jets.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
The thing is that, like,
These two teams have the experience.
they have, they've been there.
They're not done that, but they've been there.
They've been there, right?
They have the experience. They have the talent.
They have the expectations, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the Canucks and Jets were coming out as, like, a surprise,
Yeah,
right? So, yes, don't get me wrong. This year, the Canucks and Jets have been the two best
the
Canadian
better
teams.
teams.
Yeah,
But
but
the question is heading into the playoffs.
in the playoffs, you got to factor in a lot of things.
Yeah.
Right.
But again, the point is the Maple Leafs, they might be firing Keefe. If they lose the next 2 games, if they lose the 2 games against the Jets, I think they'll fire Keefe.
yeah. It's a thing, man. It's like, if you don't do it now, you can't do it later on.
Because if you look at the
really
standings,
can't, right?
they're right there with Tampa. Don't get me wrong. Like Tampa is coming back to earth.
Okay, if I were them, I would do it. But I'm prediction-wise thinking of what, like, trying to get in their heads. I don't think they're doing it.
I think they're doing it if they get out of the playoff spot, even if it's freaking April.
I don't think they are. Well, then,
if it's April, there's no
then
point.
the season
They'll
might,
just they'll just fire them.
yeah.
At that point.
And then
the minute they're out of a playoff spot for at least 2 days, I think they'll fire them.
yeah, I'm just trying to get in their heads. I don't think they are.
Yeah.
I still do believe the Leafs will make the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're going to miss.
Yeah.
But the issue is the playoffs for them.
Yeah. Sticking with the NHL though, we'll talk about if they do fire him or Sullivan or whoever is next fired. A signing happened. The Oilers add Corey Perry to a 1-year deal. So I'm guessing the remainder of the year, prorated contract. According to ESPN's Emily Kaplan, the deal will include performance bonuses and will be prorated to the league minimum salary. Chicago, obviously, he terminated his contract on November 30th, which was 1 year, $4 million pact. He met with Gary Bettman earlier in the month, this month or later last month, to come back because he was obviously on that alcohol list or whatever that list is.
So, like,
but yeah,
it's like this. Obviously, that, like, the actions aren't the same as Draymond Green, but it's kind of like similar to that, where, like, they had to take time off.
Yeah.
Right, and it's right now it's good news that, like, it seems like
and then for the Oilers,
he's recovered.
It's a good guy to have because deep playoff runs, right? So and he's won a cup, so it's a good hire there as long as he's mentally there.
Yeah,
That's the key thing.
and right now, like, obviously it's encouraging. If you're, like, obviously signing and getting back into the league, it feels like you have recovered. It's a good sign there, And yeah, Oilers are just adding another depth piece.
We're on a 13-game win streak, which is
Experience.
the Canadian team record.
Experienced team, experienced player in Corey Perry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good ad for him. Corey Perry still got a little bit left in the tank.
Another signing, this time on the executive side of things, involves our team. The Vancouver Canucks have officially extended Jim Rutherford for 3 years. Well deserved, especially this year. If it was last year, different story. Patrick Allvin will be slowly followed afterwards, most likely. Again, well deserved with the way the Canucks have been playing, as you alluded to earlier. Overall, our thoughts on the work. Let's see what happens this year.
Yeah, we can't complain. He's done. It was gonna take time, right? And obviously, yes, we were a lot of us were on him, on them, both of them, for like, okay, you haven't really done anything. But at the same time, Benning left you with
Dirty.
nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Then the only main concern for me was like how you handled the Boudreaux situation.
Yeah, that's true.
Outside of that, like he admitted to it, like the style was probably different. I don't know. Like that one, I blame Aquilini as well. He hired him for a 2-year contract or a year and an option contract and stuff like that. And then
I feel like when you make in-season hirings, it's got to be interim based.
One thing
right?
I gotta give
you
Aquilini,
can't just like give him the job.
Yeah, one thing I give Aquilini credit for. See, I don't know what Patrick Wall's contract is, honestly.
Yeah.
I have to look into that. But I gotta give Aquilini credit for. He did take a step back. He did let him buy out OEL. So he's being a normal owner, which is good.
That's good, yeah.
But yeah, no, congrats to Rutherford, deserved. Hopefully you get us a cup this year.
Exactly. All-star captains.
All-star captains are officially announced. So as you guys know, it's a little different. There's still the 4-team thing, except instead of the divisional, it's the captains. But this time they added celebrity captains. And this is your teams. So it's held in Toronto, obviously, Austin Matthews. His assistant captain is Morgan Riley and Justin Bieber. Makes sense. Bieber's from Toronto.
Yeah.
Team McKinnon, Nathan McKinnon, assistant captain Kale McCarr. So I hate this part. I'll announce actually first before I hate this part.
Yeah.
Assistant captain.
I don't think it's a big issue.
Kale McCarr and Tate McRae, whoever this is, a singer.
She's a singer.
She's from Calgary though, which is hilarious.
But
but she's the celebrity captain there. Team McDavid, assistant captain. Surprise, surprise. Leon Draisaitl. They have Will Arnett, and Team Hughes is co-captained Jack and Quinn Hughes together with Michael Bublé. So they gave the Vancouver guy the edge here. The only reason why I said I hate this part is because I like seeing teammates separated. So if you have a teammates of two, I would have loved to see them separated, like how they did it a couple of years ago. Remember when they did the draft when Ovechkin was like begging or Kessel was sitting there? It was like, I remember it was like Ryan Kessler, someone else, and then the Sedin separated, I think, that year. Like I would have preferred that.
At the end of the day, I don't think it's a real big issue.
It's not really a big issue, but I would have preferred it that way. It would have been more entertaining.
Other news elsewhere wise, I think so. Patterson's in the skills competitions.
Yeah, and then the last two people that were voted, I don't even know who's in it.
And the people voted in were Hughes and Miller.
Vancouver stand up, baby. We got we got the fan base.
We got 3 chances of winning the All-Star.
Yeah, that Canucks Leafs game that happened on the weekend was literally filled with 9 All-Stars.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the NHL talk.
Okay, go quick fire. Very quickly.
The rest of things will be wrapped up pretty
NBA
quick
will be a
as
little
well.
bit longer than normal, but UFC, we didn't watch it because we had a soccer game, which we're not going to talk about.
It wasn't a good soccer game.
Dricus Duplessis versus Sean Strickland. That's the only fight we really cared about. Duplessis got it done. From what I heard, there's a little controversy. I'll get to that in a second. But Duplessis split decision. We obviously come home. Relatives of ours said that Sean Strickland got robbed. Then our other cousin said in the morning, no, DDP got it done. But I think from the commentary when you went to grab food quickly, I was listening to the post-fight, the post-card stuff with DC and Joe Rogan and all those guys. It was, I think the judges put it unanimous 1, 2, 4, 5. So whoever they gave it to was unanimous. It was round 3 that was split, right? And the issue, though, then Dana said that he thought it was 2-2 heading into 5, and Sean got it done. So Dana says himself Sean won. If it was up to him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, again, we didn't watch the fight, so we're not going to comment too much about it. But the fact is, Duplessis won, and he called out instantly Israel Adesanya, like he wants to get shit done and over with. And I know you are kind of against, like, okay, maybe give him a tune-up fight. But again, if it's Izzy and he wants a title fight, he'll get it.
This one's a different story, right? Obviously, freaking Deontay Wilder was a 2 years old.
That's different, yeah.
Right, Adesanya still fought in like what? what was it, like October?
And he's been active consistently. Anyways
Yeah,
before
like
that.
I don't have issues with Adesanya
Yeah,
at
yeah.
215.
But if it's not Adesanya, who do you think gets it? Is it Hamza Chimaev or is it a rematch? Is it if it's not Adesanya
I mean, obviously, I could always see a rematch. Don't get me wrong,
or Pereira drops
But-
down in weight?
but I'm gonna go with Chimaev.
Is Chimaev
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Chimaev's been too dominant, right?
to not have a title shot at this point?
to not have a title shot at this point. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's same argument with Bilal Muhammad. Obviously, he's gonna get his chance as well. So, yeah.
We'll see what happens with that. Anyways, MLB, we have no other signings aside of the one we're going to talk about.
No, I'll check.
I'll talk about this one until it's finally a big name off the board. We'll just say that much, right? Because we were talking about it last episode. A big name is off the board, and it's Houston Astros making the move, and they signed Josh Hader to a 5-year, $95 million contract, according to ESPN's Jeff Passan. The deal has no deferrals and is the largest contract by present-day value for a relief pitcher in MLB history.
Yeah, I think.
It's the largest free agent deal for the Astros under owner Jim Crane.
He was looking for like more money. I think he was looking for like 100, like 10 or something around there. Right?
Listen, he's a stud, right? Like
Where
was he before San Diego then?
Milwaukee.
Yes, like he was a stud.
Yeah,
Even in San Diego, he was
a stud, but he had those 2 years where he struggled, right? Like he wasn't as
he struggled when he first got to San Diego last year.
Yeah, that trade.
The year before,
Milwaukee got rid of him because he was struggling as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no knock against Josh Hader. Josh Hader is still a stud.
Yeah.
He is not as invincible as we think he is, but he is still up there in closers at the end of the day.
Yeah.
No other signings, but I saw something interesting.
Yeah.
Yankees report Yankees only team to extend offer to Blake Snell. So
Is this after Stroman?
yeah, 7 hours ago.
Oh, what the hell?
So whatever is going on here is
That's insane.
yeah.
I think he's gonna be a San Francisco Giant. That's just me, but we'll see.
So obviously there has been reportedly included a number of teams, but only one of them has extended an offer, and that team is the New York Yankees.
Okay, that'll be concerning because we'll do obviously an MLB deep dive.
The offer is reportedly a 6-year, $150 million.
Yeah, we'll do a deep dive closer to obviously.
Yeah, no. So
starts.
that's
gonna be scary.
That'll be scary.
Jays,
for sure.
Jays, I don't know what you're doing.
You gotta get him, bro. I think Jays still get him. I do believe Jays still need a starting pitcher.
Yeah, I mean they had the Cabrera dude, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, but like I feel like there's so many studs here, you can still get it.
Yeah,
and obviously don't get me wrong, prioritize the batter first.
that's me. Yeah,
But I think you need two. You need to get the pitcher and the batter.
but yeah, Houston's pitching depth got even bigger now with Josh Hader, so we'll see what.
Yeah, like Ryan Presley's their closer, right? And then you have like
Now
Brian
you
Abreu,
have an 8-9 stud now.
and then you have a
Like
you have a 7, 8, 9 stud set up.
Yeah,
Like Brian Abreu is that guy as well.
Yeah.
Like that guy, I don't think that guy had the longest streak we were saying last year. Like he didn't even allow a run.
yeah. All right, let's move on. You want to go NBA or do you want to go soccer?
We want enough on NBA. Then if we have that little bit longer talked about, we'll go soccer first.
Okay, soccer. Let's talk about transfer. Nothing major happening, but the outside of Jordan Henderson has officially left Saudi, and he is joining Ajax. He's leaving a lot of money as well, so I don't know what happened there. But he's not the only one that has issues with the Saudi league right now. Benzema has issues with his team. He went AWOL for a bit. Now he's back. And another player who might get out of his contract is Neymar. Because of obviously his injury, he was seen holding an Inter Miami shirt as well.
Wow, he goes to Inter Miami.
So
Yeah, so Saudi League
isn't living up to it clearly. I can see why. There's no real structure there. Obviously, Ronaldo's been saying stuff. I haven't really paid attention to it much, but we'll see. I don't know. We have to do a little more of a deep dive before we talk about it more.
But yeah, so those are the only transfer wise.
But Man United made something significant that I didn't have enough time to research. But since Man United obviously have a new ownership involved, because it's still their current
A
ownership.
CEO opening was happening.
Yeah.
Basically.
I thought they filled it up personally. I thought it was like the Blanca guy and all these guys.
Didn't get it done though.
I think it was done,
That
but
was
it was
rumored.
temporary or something.
Yeah,
No,
that
it was
a-
announced though. That's the thing, because
It
Man
was a-
United announced it.
So it was probably a different positioning then.
Something like that. But Man United on Saturday confirmed and had appointed Omar Barada as the club's new CEO, poaching him from Manchester City. This is obviously official. Barada signed as head of football operations earlier on with City Football Group, which controls the English champions as well as a portfolio of other clubs across the globe, which I'm assuming New York City FC.
Probably.
Because
Yeah.
that's their sister
Yeah.
team.
So here's the thing. I don't know much about this guy,
Yeah.
but here's what I do know.
He joined City from Barcelona in 2011,
Okay.
and then where he worked alongside Ferran Soriano and City director football as well.
Yeah. So here's okay. We're not gonna talk out of our ass here.
Yeah.
We don't know this guy.
We don't know the business side.
We don't know the business side too much. But here's what I do know. Barcelona in 2011,
Studs.
they were studs. City right now, studs. United, completely ass.
So United have been without a permanent CEO since Richard Arnold left at the end of last year.
Yeah. So we're ass.
And the reason
We're adding a stud. That's all. That's the only
Based
thing
on
I
the
can
history.
take away. Yeah.
based on the history, so we'll see with the ownership side of things how it gets involved. One thing I do want to say though about Ten Hag, supposedly he wanted Ten Hag to succeed Guardiola. If that is true, I don't think he's leaving then.
Okay. Yeah.
At least for now.
And also, like, there's also been reports that like Ten Hag and like Ratcliffe had meetings and they were on the same page
Yeah.
as well. So yes, that is true there. And then again, when you're looking at United this year, it's just like, yes, obviously when you see a club like United, they have expectations, right? Like
Yeah.
they have to get shit done. Don't get me wrong. But now when you have all this stuff getting changed in front office and your season just been absolutely dreadful, yes, obviously you could go on a run. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, if you just stick it out with Ten Hag and stick it out with these guys for half a year, go into the summer with a plan and execute next year,
We'll see.
that is the main goal.
Man United at this
Because-
point for me is a time will tell situation for everyone.
Yeah, and that's the time will tell. But at the end of the day, the plan, we shouldn't give up on the year. Like, obviously, we still have a chance at top 4. But at the same time, the priority should be planning for the summer.
How annoyed are you that Jadon Sancho's performing well?
I am annoyed.
Do you
but
think it's just like the league suits him at this
maybe
point?
okay?
and he's
Yeah,
just
like
happy
how
to
much
play?
is it? How much is it like the league, and how much is it just us?
And how much is it just
As-
his personal?
Because at the end of the day, right? Like, it's not just Sancho, right? Like, we ruined Alexis Sanchez, right? Alexis Sanchez is a stud. We ruined him. Mkhitaryan was a stud. He didn't perform well
Well,
in United.
we swapped him for Sancho.
Huh?
We swapped him for Sancho. But yeah,
Sanchez.
Sanchez. Sorry.
And
But-
no, I'm talking about before. Like,
Yeah. No.
Like, I'm talking about when we got him.
No. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
that the
And then
correlation.
Ronaldo situation you already know. And then you obviously have Sancho now. And yeah.
I don't know.
Like, at the end of the day, like, there's evidence that there's something going wrong with us.
At the end of the day, for me, it's that I don't know what Sancho's mindset is, right? Because if he comes back, because he's not on a permanent deal after this.
Yeah.
If it's Ten Hag, is he going to be the same way? Because we don't know what the behind the scenes are, which is what the alleged.
Exactly, right?
rumors
And
are.
at the end of the day, recent evidence is showing with all these players that, yes, obviously, the players do get some hate, but at the same time, it could be us. It could be the club. And I'm not saying it's fully Ten Hag. It's like, this is just in general, like, the player development, the player training aspect of the club. It's just not it.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll keep it there for now. We'll see. Transfer deadline is next week for the January window, so we'll see what happens. AFCON is going on. There's a lot of random shit. Did you know Onana might not even miss a game for United at this point because they're struggling there. I think Salah came back because he was
Salah's
hurt.
injured, yeah.
I don't know. I think Morocco's been performing well though, so which is not too surprising.
Is Amrabat there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So we'll see. Hopefully that's
the trenches will turn around Amrabat, hopefully. Yeah.
That being said, let's move on to the NBA. It's important to talk about it now because the next week or so we'll be talking more NBA because the trade deadline's on February 8th.
Yeah, the trade
The
deadline.
NHL trade deadline's on March 2nd, I think.
The trade deadline is before the Super Bowl.
And we've already had a couple of trades involving your squad, like the major trades. So check out those videos, our reaction on the OG Anunoby, who's now 9-2 with his new team. Your squad is 4-6 or 5 and something like that.
Siakam trade.
Siakam trade. By the way, yellow jerseys. How does it
Yeah.
feel seeing Siakam in a yellow jersey?
It's weird. Whereas like
Like Fred, I'm like, it's red. So
Fred is
okay,
still red, right?
somewhat.
um
DeMar was red.
Knicks are gonna be blue.
Oh, sorry, no, DeMar went.
DeMar's black, yeah.
But then now is red.
Like black
Kyle's is
black
red.
jersey.
Kyle's, I'm gonna say Kyle's is red.
Yeah.
So it was like this one was like purely different.
Yeah, like OG one didn't throw me off
Yeah.
just because like red and
Orange.
is still kind of similarish. But yeah, yellow is definitely a different, especially that type of yellow. It's not like a dark yellow. It's a bright yellow.
Yeah. But yeah, no. When I was watching that game, the first game against Portland, I was like, damn. But they looked fun. Obviously, first game
They
back
can't
with
defend.
Halliburton as well.
They can't defend. Siakam,
He did lock down
Siakam clearly
He did lock down Kevin Durant today.
Yeah, no, Siakam was clearly the best defender. From
But
what I
okay, the
watched
reason
that
why
game.
it is again, you're probably gonna see a trade deadline special episode only, or some specific trades that might be happening. Because my squad disappointing this year. I don't think the trades are the reason this year because the injuries wise, the star players have been fine. AD's been killing. He's probably been our best player this year. But yeah, the role players have been hurt for the most part. But this is the potential rumor trade because names like Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and so on and so forth are available. But a certain name also available is DeJounte Murray, and it's been literally heating up. That there's been a discussion made, and this is according to Lakers reporter Jovan Buha, similar to your name almost.
Yeah.
It is spelled like it's Jovan, and that's
Yeah.
But it's Jovan Buha from the Athletic, saying the Hawks will receive D'Angelo Russell, Jalen Hood-Schifino, additional draft compensation, and 2029 first-round pick just for DeJounte Murray. Talks have stalled, but are expected to pick up back closer to the trade deadline, which again is on February 8th.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you want my reaction to this.
Yeah, well, like, I'll get your reaction. Is there any more news or just like deadline-wise?
Deadline-wise, this is the biggest one right now.
Because I'll ask this question at the end of the NBA talk. That's why.
Raptors are expected to trade Chris Boucher.
Okay, that's...
But I'm just saying, it's
Yeah,
still a solid
there's nothing
piece.
like major. But if there's anything else major, just quickly get that done. Because I want to ask you a question at the end.
Okay, Washington Wizards are reportedly looking for better quality draft picks for Kyle Kuzma, who could be available.
Yeah.
And those are the main ones that I see.
Yeah, just get the main ones, obviously, for now. We'll get more into the deadline talk as we get closer as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, my question to you is, your team always has a turnaround. What's going to make it different this year? Right?
For me, it's the health of the role players. Like, I'll be honest with you, I'm not a fan of this trade.
Huh?
I'm gonna dead ass say this.
Because last year, I'm like, okay, yeah.
Last year, 100%.
I was like, yo, you guys cooked, right? And then you guys did well in the playoffs, and then you managed to able to retain all those players.
Yes.
It's like, what? Then obviously from your championship year in the bubble, you freaking turn around the roster for no reason.
I did not understand that.
And then now, like,
You took the continuity route.
You're taking the continuity from last year, what you guys did, out again. So, like, what's gonna be different this time?
What's gonna be different this time? I don't think this. Okay. So you want me to answer that first?
Yeah. So, like, is it gonna really change anything for you guys?
It's just I guess the health of the players. Like Rui Hachimura has been out. Jared Vanderbilt has been out. Cam Reddish has been up and down. I think those are factors. We've been playing different lineups throughout the thing. What should change is obviously Dom being healthy, but for me it's Darvin Ham. It comes down to him, right? And I know you're gonna ask me about the trade in a second, so I'll get to that. I'll hold that till you ask that. I'm not saying fire Darvin Ham because I hate firing a coach after 2 years, and Lakers have literally been that. When something goes bad, it's never the player's fault. It's like Man United all over again. It's the coach. But this side, I do have to give Darvin Ham a lot of blame because even last year it worked out well. I'm like, okay, I have faith in that. But I just hate like the lineup decisions he has. Too much faith in Taurean Prince. As much as Taurean Prince should be on the team, he's a player that should be in the Lakers. I'm not saying get rid of Taurean Prince like Russell Westbrook was. But it's for me, what will change is if he changes his coaching decisions. Simple as that. I think the lineup should be the same lineup he played in the bubble, the playoffs of last year. Vanderbilt should be starting, in my opinion. Today they destroyed the Portland Trail Blazers. This team is so random that they beat the good teams. They beat OKC and the Clippers back to back, and then got their ass kicked by the Nets.
Yeah,
right. There's no continuity. That's the thing that annoys me the most with this team.
So it's a consistency issue.
Yeah, like I want to fire Darvin Ham midseason. There's no point to, right?
Yeah.
Unless you think Phil Handy could do a great job and do it, or if there's anyone available that could do it. So the change is, can the players just be consistent? Because AD has been playing like a monster, right? Lately he's been putting a lot of assists. Like he's playing like point AD role a little bit.
That's the most confusing part.
Because he's not been injured.
He hasn't been
injured. Last
injured.
year there was injuries excuses. You know how when you said the injury excuses for Buffalo? And I'm like, well, I'm not going to buy it because I'm a Laker fan and I have experienced the same thing. At the end of the day, you got to deal with the injuries. The whole AD day-to-day, whatever his nickname was, right? But he, for the most part, minus maybe 3 games in the last month or so, he's been like a monster. You've seen his stat line. You've seen some games as well.
He killed it.
Right? And LeBron's been up and down, sure, but I'm not buying LeBron to be the main guy anyways, but you're forcing him to be. So I don't know. Austin Reeves was up and down himself. To start, he went to the bench. He started killing it. Now he's back in the starting lineup. I don't know, but
so do you think you need to make a change in the at the deadline? Do you think you need to?
Yes, not D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell's been hooping.
Okay.
We have no shooting, so we need shooting.
Okay.
So if Buddy Hield is still up for trade, which I don't think he should be now, because they're gonna go on a playoff push, and again, I don't think the Pacers are on a contender level right now. Go get Buddy Hield or whatever shooter or 3-and-D player is available that you could make a trade for. Because I feel like I love DeJounte Murray. I think DeJounte Murray will be an upgrade on this team defensively. You have another ball handler, and he's also a mid-range specialist himself. 3-point shooting is not a specialty.
Yeah.
Right? So you get more pressure off him, off the ball with LeBron. D'Angelo Russell, for me, is a better shooter, shot creator. Yeah, defensively not there. And also he's a better playmaker overall, in my opinion. So I don't see why we get rid of the team. I would say just make sure the team's healthy. And Darvin Ham and his staff needs to figure out how to get this team going. Because it's a similar team from last year. I do think we need to upgrade. Christian Wood's been playing well. But if I'm seeing a rumor like Tyus Jones and Gafford, I'm all for it. Go get it. Because you know me and Tyus Jones.
Yeah.
How I think he's the guy who will take care of the ball a lot. And he will take a lot of pressure off LeBron James off the ball.
As well.
Right? I'll trust him there.
Yeah, so
I'm not a fan of this package because I'm not the reason why I'm going on a tangent here quickly, but it's because Jalen Hood-Schifino, we're giving up on him too early. If we're gonna throw him, why are we gonna throw another first with Jalen Hood-Schifino? Obviously, Jalen Hood-Schifino isn't living up to what Jaime Jaquez is, but we're not even playing Hood-Schifino for that reason. It's kind of like you and Grady Dick, but Grady Dick's been performing better now. But like if you guys look, you look at the guy from the Warriors, forgot his name, how you pronounce it, but the long name that starts with the P. Obviously, Jaime Jaquez, and there's some other people that are playing well. I don't know. Like, I got to see. Like, I've watched almost every Laker game, and it's just been frustrating. I think it's more off on there's no culture, like how the Canucks were last year. That's the best way to put it. That if they fix the culture, I think this team should be the finalist in the
okay,
thing.
yeah, so here's the thing. I do believe DeJounte Murray will be an upgrade to your squad. Don't get me wrong.
But not at the expense of D'Lo.
Yeah. But looking at your squad, are you up there with the Nuggets? Are you up there with the Clippers? Do you consider that even if you add DeJounte Murray?
Yes.
So you
we
think
have
you
LeBron
are?
and Anthony Davis.
So you think you are? But how much is it like? Yes, obviously basketball is a different game. Like basketball, like how I mentioned football, Josh
Football
Allen
is the team.
couldn't do anything more, right? Like LeBron and Anthony Davis could genuinely carry you.
Yeah.
Right? So obviously that's the main reason. But at the same time, help is always required. The Denver Nuggets help is there. The Clippers help is there. The Thunder still have a squad.
Clippers are on a tier on their own, and you could throw the Nuggets in there as well because they deserve the respect. Half a tier below or to a full tier below, you put the Lakers. I'm not scared of any other team in the West outside of those two teams.
Okay.
Maybe the Suns. I'll say that much. But the Suns have to find their
they don't have help
gelling either, right?
They're like you guys.
Yeah. So my point is with this team is just figure out your identity. Last year your identity was defense, and we were the best defense since that trade.
You were, So
that's not the case this year.
Here's the thing, bro. Like I just feel like you guys just need to pick one thing, and just figure out
figure out your identity
and excel at that thing.
That's my thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't like if we could add DeJounte Murray, great, but to get a player, you need to give up players, right?
And then
not every year we're gonna finesse like how we did the last year.
Yeah, like last
that was a finesse.
That was a finesse, right? And then if you had DeJounte Murray, your identity should be defense.
And I know we're heavily linked to Bruce Brown, but I don't think Masai is gonna give him up for cheap either.
Yeah,
we know Masai.
Yeah, he doesn't.
But like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm seeing reports that like we might have a good deal for the Hawks that involves Clint Capella. Then if that means point or a power forward 80, I'll take that. But then where's the spacing again, right? For me, is if you're gonna add pieces, please go add shooters and please go add gritty defenders.
3-and-D.
And you're good. 3-and-D guys if you can. And that's all I gotta say for that.
Gary,
I we'll see what happens if the trade deadline comes
Gary
up.
Trent Jr.
No, yeah.
Bruce Brown obviously could be a good add for you guys.
I know where you're going with this now.
Just getting all rid of that.
No, but genuinely, like those two guys, I would love to have.
Here, so like one thing we both agree on is, yes, you have your contenders and you have your shitters, and then you have confusion. Lakers are confusion. They're one of the most confusing teams in the NBA.
Yeah, they were last year too.
Yeah, so
But we've seen
That is-
they're the biggest range team right now.
They
in the
are.
NBA. And they
And
shouldn't be.
They shouldn't
They
be.
really shouldn't be.
But we'll wrap it there.
But yeah, okay, no.
Or you
I'm
have
gonna
one more
ask
thing?
I'm gonna ask you one thing. What do you think of this Laker team? And as like, I know you haven't been watching much because of obviously Canucks play at that time as well, and you have school and working on the pod stuff. But if you were to look at this team, is it strictly just Darvin Ham coaching, figure out the identity?
I think so, right?
Or like I'm not crazy what I'm saying.
No.
From a neutral perspective.
Yeah, like, okay. It worked. You guys were Western Conference,
Yeah.
right? And obviously, yeah, you guys beat the Warriors. You guys beat the Memphis Grizzlies with Ja Morant.
And the Nuggets games were close. Yeah, we got swept, but they were
Yeah,
close.
apart from like 2 games.
Yeah.
Like,
One game, the first game.
first game, yeah. Yeah, rest of the games were pretty close. So, yeah, I'm just confused. Because I'm like, if you guys signed back all your players,
Most of
like
them.
I was like, okay, out of the 3, I was like Hachimura, Reeves, and Russell. I was like, even if you signed 2 of them,
Vando.
and Vando. So even if you signed 2 of those 4, I was like, okay, you guys still dubbed out. And you guys managed to sign all 4.
Yeah. And we
And-
added Christian Wood.
And you added Christian Wood. So I'm just like, it has to be a coaching thing, or it has to be
It's weird
because AD's healthy. Like,
and he's killing.
he's playing.
And he's,
So,
and he's killing it while
yeah,
he's
like,
playing. It's no, none
I'm
of this
pretty
like
sure-
every other day.
I'm pretty sure
AD.
LeBron's doing what LeBron's doing.
He's been like up and down. I'll say that much. They kind of like swap roles in that sense.
Yeah, okay, whatever. But at the end of the day, he's still LeBron.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. It's weird because like ever since this happened ever since the in-season tournament. Because during the in-season tournament, when games mattered for the regular season, they played well.
So is it just like this is just the Bills in the regular season? They just played to a team's
I'm
level?
hoping it is because they're 500. They're currently in a play-in spot. So like, let me ask you this last thing to close it out because I don't want to keep going on the Lakers because I
Yeah.
can all day. If this team were to get into a play-in spot and do what they did last year, would you still be scared of this team, whoever plays them in the first round?
Yes. Like I would, because at the end of the day, like what it's gonna take for them is to do what the Buffalo built. Like they're gonna have to play playoff games
The problem now though
before the playoffs actually begin.
is they're gonna be playing the Clippers potentially in the first round.
Well, at the end of the day, you guys put yourselves in a hole,
Yeah, no, I'm saying.
right? And you guys done that last year. You managed to get out of it.
But then
I won't be surprised if
the
you do it
matchups
again
were
this year.
Favorable last year.
Yeah, true. That is. Yeah. I know Warriors one was still tough. I would
Because
say.
I think the Warriors will still make the playoffs, and I think the Jazz will fall out. So which means all the top teams should make it, but except
Yeah.
Memphis is going to be injured, right? So
It's like I said before.
realistically, if
It's
we're 3 games away out of a playoff spot. We're
yeah.
3 games out of a playoff spot. It's
Like
last
like
year.
was said before.
Yeah.
It's confusion. This team
And
is
last
just
year we were
confusing.
worse.
This is
We were
confusing.
2-10.
Yeah, this is
But
confusing.
yeah, we'll cap it there. As always, thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you guys a lot. Make sure you guys check out the Canucks video we dropped recently about Elias Pettersson, which is from a podcast. So yeah, every time you guys see a video like that, it's always from our full-length podcast.
So yeah, so
So-
if you guys watch that video, just and you want to like know more, just check out the full podcast episode. It'll always be linked at the end of the video.
Yeah.
And
But appreciate the support on that. Appreciate on the rise. We're almost at 350, and it's only
Yeah.
been 3 weeks since we got 300, right? Keep an eye out on the NHL tier list coming out in a couple of weeks. I'm not gonna say right now in mid-season rankings, but outside of that, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you guys follow all our socials linked down below. Audio listeners, rate, review, download the podcast. And other than that, we'll catch you guys on the next one.
peace.